Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're just ramping up right now. I'm trying to get to the page. I don't see anything to click on yet. So we're just
refreshing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So okay, there's no video to access now. I guess I blew it. We should have continued, and now it's not wanting to do anything.
No.
No, I can't go to the chat. Where's there's no chat to go to. There's no thumbnail. There's no graphic
Okay.
to. Yeah. So do we need to just reboot the whole system, or?
No, it's not a reboot thing.
Oh, okay.
You just have to refresh, and we're here now. Okay. Refresh.
Okay. I'm toggling between videos and homepage, and I've got nothing that tells me where I can listen live.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. Now it's live. So we're going. Remember, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, ladies and gentlemen. That's broadcasting. And the good news is, looks like we're about ready to do it, and we're both 10-10. Thank you, y'all love. And so stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for all the great work Shelley is doing. She actually makes me look good. I can't get over it. I've waited for somebody like this for a long time. And here we are, Memorial Day, memorializing the legacy of mankind, what it is and what it wasn't. And so, again, stand by. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is there to be construed as medical hate nor legal advice. And I think you need to mute out, Shelley. I hear you smacking them lips. And listen to the Forbidden History. You're doing it right here, right? Listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the realpublicradio.net and Forbidden History Live, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week, every Sunday through Saturday, somewhere out there on Ninja Cat 111, the Forbidden History Chronicles, or right here on Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here. Stand by for the broadcast. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Florida, or no longer in Florida, Central Ohio, and Free America Radio Network, Forbidden History Live on YouTube.com. It's the Forbidden History Live, what they didn't want you to know. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. Still time to call your friends. You did call your friends, didn't you? Get on that phone right now and get your friends going here. It's a holiday, right? Welcome to Forbidden History Live, ladies and gentlemen. What they didn't want you to know, we tell right here. I am your host, Dezert-Owl. Welcome to all of our friends and listeners out there on the broadcast. Hope more will come in and hear what they didn't want you to know that we do tell, because somebody's got to do it. They raised everybody on cornflakes and ice cream and right in front of the television and right from your diapers. We were kidnapped, basically kidnapped and shuttled off into La La Land, into the global matrix of deception. But we need to know the truth. We have to hear things we haven't heard before, and that's what we're doing right here. I had a whole different opener, and now it's out there in the cosmos somewhere, because I can't even remember where I was going with it all. But that's okay, because we have a lot of broadcasting we're going to do in the future, for as long as we have a future, and hope to be able to share with you some things that really you don't hear anywhere else. Okay, that's really what we do on Forbidden History Live. And tonight we're doing a special on the original thought, so that you can get a feel for it. I touch on it on all the broadcasting, but I felt with the Memorial Day weekend that it would be good to memorialize original thought and to hear a version of the scriptures from the Aramaic, while I then transliterate that which is already very much archaic by nature, being come from 1846 by an absolute scholar. And he didn't go into the Greek. He went into the Aramaic and brought it into English, the hook, and then then I transliterate from there, knowing the original thought, which is not the corrupted Aramaic that they gave us through Constantine the Great and the great takeover of our spirituality by the Roman Empire, but it's not out of the Greek, not out of the Hebrew, which is basically Babylon, but out of the Indo-Germanic mother tongue. Okay, it's the Indo-Germanic, and this is what has been stolen from us. This is what we don't hear about, other than in the the higher levels of scholastics. And the question is, how did it disappear? Why did it disappear? Or is it still yet hiding right in front of us? And the truth is, it is hiding right in front of us. And who was it I was reading? As I do on each program, the dictionary and the opener on the by Waddell on the Sumerian Aryan tradition and all that, and how that it was Waddell, I believe, who said that we are speaking basically upwards of it was an enormous number. I think he said 70% of our words are actually directly related back to the Sumerian. But then that would also, I think, include the Sanskrit, pseudo-Sanskrit, because the real Sanskrit are the capital letters you still find on your driver's license, or what's misnomered as the Phoenician alphabet, which predates the Phoenicians and is the original alphabet. And you can see it on some of those iconography in Sumer, in Sumeria. It was what was breathed into Adam, and what was breathed into Adam is the gnosis of it all, and the code for speaking. So it goes back to the beginning, and that which is first is superior, and that which is first is original. Okay, so we need to also, if you have a comment or a question, don't forget to put my name in all capital letters, because it's a way I can see you. Okay, and want to welcome all of our listeners to the broadcast, and we're going to be reading all 13, and I'm glad they're short chapters, but all 13 chapters from the book of Hebrews. And I want to do a little piece from Fenton first. And hey, Ninja, good to have you. Glad you made it from down under in Australia. And we're, as you know, trying to make history, being a part of history, because somebody's got to do it. But before I go into the Hebrews, I wanted to actually read what Fenton said about the three main books of Paul, because the propaganda today, if there is the propaganda today is that they say, well, we're not really sure who did the translation of Hebrews. I mean, it could have been Baba Gwandandi or Ishtabubu, but we know it's not. We know it's not Paul. It couldn't be Paul. No, it couldn't be Paul. And if the propaganda isn't great, because there's no question, being, as Paul defined himself, a Pharisee of Pharisees, and knowing that he was a purist, and the reason he was adopted in directly by the Spirit of Yeshua, adopted into the family of the perfect circle of the called out ones, is because he was the most qualified to speak on the deep aspects of the metaphors and symbols and the transition from the stone covenant, not old, but stone, because it was written in stone because they were so thick-headed they couldn't get it in their hearts, and the simplicity, and or accept the power of Yahweh. They were at a disadvantage because they didn't even have the TV to propagandize them. They were just literally, I didn't have the book. I don't know. We weren't there, so it's hard to. I know they had access to their pure tradition, but what part of it, did they have, and how did they all interact with it? We don't ever hear a story about them all sitting around a campfire telling stories. So, but we know their legacy was passed down. And so the nonsense that the book of Hebrews wasn't done by Paul. So I'm going to read what Fenton wrote, and he wrote it about. I'm looking for his statement on it. Where is that statement? Okay, there. And so we got the three main books of Paul were. Maybe it's at the beginning of Corinthians. Here, let me find it. Forgive me, I should have obtained this ahead of time, but I just. I'm winging it, doing it on a song, wing and a prayer right now, and you are our prayers, ladies and gentlemen, that we can do a work like nobody else has done before, based on our bringing forth this legacy. So the three books that he talked about. What in the world? Now I really should have done my prep ahead of time. I'm wanting to kick myself, because what Fenton says about Paul is absolutely outstanding. And now I'm trying to get to the beginning of Acts, see if I find it there. I'll tell you what, Shelley, can we go to a musical interlude? I've got to work real quick to try to find this, and I don't want to have dead air on here. So just thank you. I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I got to find this because this is a significant qualifier for the works of Paul and the book of Hebrews. I'll be right back. Thank you, Sean. Okay, Shelley, we got it. Okay, so thank you, friends, to hang on with me here. And so what we have is it's at the end of actually at the end of James. No, it's at the end of Hebrews. It's at the beginning of James. Here it is. So what Farrar Fenton, and of course Farrar Fenton, as you know, I've shared this what I claim to be the most important translation ever from the Greek. Okay, the most important translation from the Aramaic is George Lamsa or I think they're both front runners. The one we're about to read tonight, the Etheridge from 1846, and also George Lamsa from circa 1933. Okay, those are the two Aramaic twin towers, and Fenton is a standalone coming from the Greek in the New and the Hebrew in the Old. Of course, That's all we have left, I think, is the Hebrew. Well, no, we have some Aramaic still from the eastern side, but most are going at it from the Hebrew, which is a scam. It's basically a scam. The Masoretic text is a scam. We've talked about it, and we'll talk about it again. So I'm going to read you what Fenton says from his 1905 translation of the scriptures. The letters to the Romans, note, the letters to the Romans, Corinthians, and Hebrews form what the old Greeks called a trilogy. The old Greeks called the trilogy, and moderns today are saying Hebrew is not even, no way Paul could have done it. No way. No way. No way. How could he? He was a bubba boo boo. Okay, no, Paul was the most qualified on the planet to do it, and you can see Paul all through it. Okay, so from what the old Greeks called a trilogy, the three works of Paul, a Shaul. That's actually the original name for Shaul. Saul is a Shaul, and it means the royal eye. See, he had the name of the royal eye of the owl, a Shaul, the royal eye of the owl. That was his name. Okay, title, name, title, name, title. Title is correct. Name is what's in the mud, but we're all stuck using it. It seems we're stuck in the mud, and so in this trilogy, and things happen by threes, and that's a cool deal. And in them, the anointed Shaul, Paul, showed the world the Christian victory of light, the Christian faith in its intellectual, social, and spiritual aspects, so as to enable every class of mind to comprehend its eternal and universal nature, omniversal nature, to comprehend it. And no doubt, those, not to mention the other letters he did besides, right? He dominates all the letters, of course, and persistent efforts have been made for centuries. See, he sees it. Persistent efforts have been made for centuries to upset the Pauline authorship. That's over 100 years ago. He's making that statement. To upset the Pauline authorship of this letter to the Hebrews. Wonder why? Must be a Jewish conspiracy, do you think? But no man who has studied the mental peculiarities of the anointed Shaul, Paul, in what I would call his idiom of thought, can doubt that he wrote it. I've never doubted once in my life, in spite of all the propaganda. I see and read it for myself. For no other Ashan could have done it. No other could have done it. And that's clearly evident, ladies and gentlemen. It's so easy. We got an echo? Make sure if we got an echo, please give us a second on that, okay? We need to know. Oh, we're good, okay. So undoubtedly, he originally wrote it in Hebrew and had it translated by a secretary into the Greek. Yeah, he wrote it in the Hebrew for the Hebrews, not Jews, but Hebrews. Get the picture, because there weren't no Jews back then. They were Hebrews. Undoubtedly, he originally wrote in Hebrew and had it translated by a secretary into Greek for his edition of select letters, to which it forms a splendid crown, a corona. Origen, the most ancient biblical critic, corroborates that the Hebrew composition was the first issued. Well, I forgot that part of it. Yeah. So it was literally like the first book of Shaul, because he was trying to set the record straight for his beloved tribe of the Hebrew race. He and then what did he ultimately say in one of his letters in the book of Acts? Well, since you've all rejected it, I turn to the commoners, and they will receive it. So there you go. Okay, you couldn't have a more profound statement than that right there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just go to the back of Romans and make sure There's not there. There's something here in these three essays. Okay, there's a footnote to eternity, and in these three essays. Okay, so I think he's also in the end of his translation of Romans. He's also elaborating on the trilogy here. Let's see what he says. Note, in these three essays, the Malek, royal messenger Yochelleg Paul, presents to mankind the whole of the Christian doctrine in a systematized form from 3 points of view, with a sublime power of genius never equaled by any writer, the world has produced. What a narrative. You know, it's like we should have known that, right? But now that it's been pointed out, is it not true when you read the book of Romans, 1st, 2nd Corinthians, and Hebrews? You know, that there's never been 3 more important books ever written by one guy, right? Telling you. And with its natural genius for philosophic thought, heightened by a divine inspiration to a depth of insight into the earthly nature and all the faculties of the seed of the moon, Son of Man, such as had never been before granted to any secular or inspired teacher, seed planter, other than Yeshua, maybe. Or maybe Yalganun, that there's a little bit of competition there because there's several good ones. We know that. But of course, then we could just say it's all really the Spirit, right? And that's the enlightenment that goes round. That's what Elijah meant, you see, that is a story for another day. This has made him a leader of advanced thought for the past 2,000 years. The leader of advanced thought for the past 2,000 years. And he certainly defined love too, didn't he? And has even compelled those who in our day profess to disfollow, disaccount, disbelieve, it's got here, believe, to belie Eve, in any divine revelation. Let me try that again. This has made him a leader of advanced thought for the past 2,000 years and has even compelled those who in our day profess to disbelieve in any divine revelation to confess in admiration of his work and walk that it embodies the essential religion of the future, and that the world is only, and it should have been for the present because it is in our present moment, and that the world is only just becoming able to comprehend the eternal, not eternal, but eternal, the compass going round, the infinite Ouroboros that never stops, the eternal truths that he enforced. We who can follow, know them to be eternal, and they came from the ever-living Yahweh, who is the great Dolophaim. And so there you have it. What better second can we get? And I'll just cap it off by reading what he said about 1st and 2nd Corinthians. Another bit here. Note, and the 2 letters to the Corinthians present to the anointed Yochelleg to be to us a statesman and social organizer of the highest ability and of the clearest common sense. He would seem to have been accused of teaching a code of ethics too high for practical life, but in reality he calmly enacts the shelter for the true shelter, for the conduct of the Moeshiach, the Moeshakim, or the Christians, that while easy to obey, do not make obedience a slavery, excuse me, or it does not make obedience a slavery or a struggle against the natural necessities of mankind, but instead will make existence pleasant, healthful, virtuous, I'll add fulfilling, and consequently enlightened with joy, or with the joy of enlightenment. And they have no asceticism or prohibition of any innocent pleasure, but encourage bodily and mentally comfort in every way and enforce the principles of duty, true equity, falsely called justice, and mercy, and in the equality in ethical accountability to Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, of rich and poor alike, and the mutual duties of every class of society, legal rights, natural right, but showing how the worst conditions of the hideously corrupt, morally well, no, they're very moral. They want more and they want it all. Ethically bankrupt and laws of his day could be reinforced without any resort to political violence, and to the especial benefit of the followers of the Moeshiach, Christ. I am not aware that Saint the anointed Yochelleg, Paul, has been ever before studied in this position of a legislator, but as such, his influence has reorganized the civil world. Now, do you know anything, ladies and gentlemen, about the conspiracy to discount Paul in the so-called Christian world, or in particular, I think, in the identity movement as well? That they literally, are. Yeah, well, he had family that were, family of Caesars, or, this or that or the other thing. Well, what does a birth association, have to do, with the flesh, have to do with the spirit? There were, people from England, or excuse me, Great Britain came down, and were in the family with Caesar, and but so my question to the doomser, to the naysayers who want to destroy the backbone of our New Testament, it's amazing. Take out all the works of Paul, and what do you got left? 10 books or something like that, because everything else has been stolen. But so literally they put in the people's minds, the propaganda that that no, Paul was a secret agent. He was there to destroy. Well, if he was the enemy, we couldn't ask for a better enemy, could we? I mean, we couldn't. We couldn't ask for a better enemy, because nobody says it better than Yochelleg. Show me one thing in anything he said in these letters in our New Testament that is not jam up, right on, and profound, and that leads to enlightenment and fulfillment. He was the ultimate scholar. So there you go. Okay, so put that feather in your cap, and you can take it to the bank, because you can see and read it for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need propaganda to influence your mind. You have to become a scholar, and you have to see and read it for yourself. Okay, so with that, we want to now get into a profound work. I had been following the Aramaic scriptures, first with George Lamsa for the last 35, 40 years, and then I eventually got by library loan a copy of Moffat. Was it Moffat? I always get confused between Moffat and Murdoch. James Murdoch, Moffat. Yeah, Murdoch from the late 1800s, who did the Syriac version of the New Testament, and it wasn't from a better source. There's several sources out there that got watered down through the centuries. But so then, when I heard about Etheridge's translation from 1846, I thought, well, with what I've seen with Moffat, that I don't think I'm going to find anything of interest in Etheridge's copy, because if Moffat, is lacking in a lot of that I was hoping for, like what I get out of Lamsa, then going back. But I forgot what I've been saying all along anyway, is that the further you go back into the 1800s, the more scholarship you find. I mean, these people were at the pinnacle of scholarship, because they've been collecting all the thoughts of others that preceded them in the earlier centuries. So for the last 2,000 years, up into the 1800s, there was a continual expansion of thinking, in spite of the propaganda, in spite of the burning people at the stake by the Vatican, and what have you. But that then after the 1800s, with the New Deal, especially with Roosevelt, and of course just the world secret societies, Trilateral Commission and Council on Foreign Relations, the the Fabian Society, the Rosicrucians, all of them, working in tandem to get control of education. That word alone is a good one, because it means what they removed from your brain, what they removed from your curriculum, is a education, because ed means remove. It's ed for editor, not add for addition. It's ed for remove. And there's that E again, that letter E we talk about. So lo and behold, once I get a copy, then it's like, wow, I can't get over it. This is like one of the most powerful reads from the Aramaic, from Lamsa, Moffat, or any of the others, specifically with the New Testament. So I wanted to read it and give you a sample of that with original thought. I don't know how far I'm going to be able to make it. Feel like I'm losing my voice already. Tell you, so before I get started, if we can take a musical break, Shelley, and then we'll be right back. I want to welcome our listeners. Our diehards are here. They're always here, and I'm so grateful, because you all keep me going. You are my inspiration and keep me motivated. Okay, to bring it to you like nobody else out there, and hungry for truth. Thank you so much, Shelley. We'll be right back. You did tell your friends, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, it's Memorial Day. We can memorialize our spiritual tradition and want to hear a transliteration we've never heard before. What they didn't want you to know. Be right back. back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to our engineer, Yochelleg, for doing such a great job of creativity. And Ninja Cat 111 has a lot of stuff she's doing on her channel as well, you know, that really makes it more lively and fun to do when, you know, you've been doing this alone for so many years, and then your channel keeps crashing. I've had 2 YouTube channels go up and down, and you know, and it takes like a year to get back going again because I'm not a geek, and you know, and so I know we'll never have a big audience because you know, most people are not deep thinkers, and therefore they want the you know, the short version and the you know, and the icing on the cake, and you know. And they love the cake too, but they don't want the meat and potatoes, because meat and potatoes, well, it's a little work. You know, it's a little bit of work to figure things out and to go where no one's gone before. Okay, but we have to go there. You know, we have to. Yeah, the geeks for me. Okay, very good. I needed some geeks, so just put an R in there and you get Greeks. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Greeks are geeks. All right, so so here we are in the version by Etherich, translation of the Aramaic New Testament. Okay, and it's absolute stellar in its scholarship, and I didn't think to investigate it. Well, I didn't really, you know where the books were or anything, but then finally it came out. This copy was redrafted by Ewan Ewan MacLeod, MAC capital LEOD. Ewan MacLeod, International Authority on Aramaic. Okay, so he's the one who brought this to our world. I think he's got a website where you can find it. Let me give it to you. Where are we at here? Website? Yeah, just go to JesusSpokeAramaicBook.com, JesusSpokeAramaicBook.com, or JesusSpokeAramaic.com, or BibleManuscriptSociety.com. Okay, those 3 links: BibleManuscriptSociety.com, all one word, and then get a copy of the Etherich's version, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you will think you're reading the scriptures for the first time. So we'll go starting in chapter 1, and I also want to add one of the things that has been pointed out by another scholar is, you know, Paul always has the same way of starting his letters, and it's you know, where he gives honor, like here in Timothy, 1 Timothy, Paul, Shaul Paulus, an apostle of Yeshua the Mashiach, by the commandment of Yahweh, our soul Savior, and of Yeshua the Mashiach, our hope. So he always has this standard opening, and we do not find it in Hebrews, and so it's been pointed out, you know, by these other translators, that their position is that there was probably another chapter at the beginning that was actually removed from all of our scriptures, and because it just starts abruptly in this manner, in manifold portions and in all manners spoke Yahweh with our fathers by the star navigators, prophets. Remember, I'm going original thought, so I'll clue you in on the transitional thought, okay, in the modern, and I'll give you the original thought. So I'm reading the Aramaic translation, but I'm also interjecting in the corrupt words. They gave us corrupted words, propaganda through the College of Abbreviators outside the Vatican. At one point, they said we can't keep burning people at the stake anymore for getting copy because the copies are coming out. So we've just got to now take control of the words. And they did it outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators, run by the Jesuit Curii. They put the mud in your eye. And if the people don't know what mud in the eye looks like, Shelley, maybe you'd like to show them, okay? Mud in the eye, because it's all backed by the Babylonian Talmud and the grand scheme of world domination and world Zionism, okay? Nothing to do with enlightenment or truth, but it's about deceiving you and keeping you in the mud and the slime, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Shelley. So you can keep it there for a while. They may need to absorb it a little bit, you know what I mean? And so then we can go back to something else. So, all right, continuing here. So, and Yahweh spake with our fathers, the star navigators, from the beginning. But in this final age, he has spoken with us by his Zan, his son, whom he constituted the heir of everything, and by whom he made all of the stars and the moons and the planets in the cosmos, who himself is the, and by the way, you can follow along in your version. That's what I'm hoping you might consider, and you'll see how different it is. And I'll give out a verse every now and then in case you get lost, where you can come back, okay? Because I know you'll be challenged to follow in like a King James or something like that. Who himself is, and that's the most propagandistic practically of them all, next to the NIV, of course. Well, they all are. They all look so much the same. That's evidence of the control of the narrative. You see, try reading 5 different versions of Homer. You will not be able to compare them because they are so different from one another, because it is so fluid. Okay, so fluid in interpretation. And it shows the problems that we have with interpretation. Okay, so who himself, Yahweh, is the resplendence of his own star. He is represented by the star, the sun. Okay, that's obviously, and being and Yahweh, of course, is who they mispronounce as Yahweh. In here in the Aramaic, it is Elaheh, but correctly, it should be Yahweh. And we find it preserved in the Germanic, the Yavol. So being the image and logo of his own being, that star, the sun, being the image and logo of his own being, and upholding all things. You bet that sun is upholding all things. If that sun went out tomorrow, we'd be in quite a fix. It's upholding all things by the power of his Eshavor. That's the word. And he, in his own character, hath made a purification for blindness, aka sin, blindness. That's the correct term. Sin is a code. And hath sat down at the right hand of the Majesty, the mother star of enlightenment, in the eye of the return. In the eye of the return, the throne of the sun. That's what that means. On high is a code. They had to really work hard to corrupt the original thought, ladies and gentlemen, and it is being decoded right here as you hear it live, okay, this Memorial Day, to remember what it used to be like, right here. Verse 4. And this character, or here it says person, but that's a code for serpent when you rearrange the letters, is altogether more excellent. Okay, so now it's talking about Yeshua in particular, that this character, this quality of character, be the way to say it, is altogether more excellent than all of the other royal messengers. It says angels, but angel, it doesn't belong in our scriptures. It's Anglo-Saxon. Look in the Latin dictionary from 1812 or the Middle English dictionary. See English, okay? English, anglers, the angles. And so we want Malak. Malak is it means royal messenger in particular. It also means mother tongue, but in the general sense, it means the royal messenger. So in other words, when it says angels, who's it talking to? Talking about? It's not talking about some invisible creatures with wings on their back that fly through the air. It's talking about people. It's all about us. And they've removed us out of the picture, and they're talking about things that go bump in the night, and we don't even get the picture. That's how they've corrupted the message. Okay, this is the game that they played on us. Like, and one prime example is when it said, who was it said? Paul said it. Be careful when you are, you have guests that visit you, because you never know that you might be entertaining angels. But he didn't say angels. He said Malakim, and he said, and what he meant was royal messengers. Well, can you get the picture that people that are bringing a royal message are royal messengers, the message of eternal life, that they are the royal messengers, and it was changed into angels. And so you no longer think of flesh and blood people being active in this story, but instead now think of some other creation. What does that have to do with us? What does that have to do with us? How did that get there? I never saw any, these legions of visible creatures flying around with wings on their back, because they don't exist by nature. Okay, we can discuss that further. And because I can give it. It's out. It go. I think it's in Isaiah. I just have to go into my lamps. I've got it tagged, and Yeshua says, "I am. There is nobody beside me. No, not one." Talking about spirits. I am the spirit. He says, So we are the other spirits, but we are in the caps in the flesh and blood of the grave. The grave. We're in a cell. We're in a holding pattern in our cell. That's why they call our phone a cell phone, because we're in our cell, and Ninja Cat says, Desert, I found corruption on the original gospel that you probably already know. Laughing out loud. Well, it's everywhere. Right, Ninja, I don't know what you mean specifically, but okay. So continuing here, and his character is more excellent than, and altogether is more excellent than the royal messengers, any of the other, speaking about the star navigators, aka prophets, as well in particular, but it could mean David when it's talking about Malak, David. Actually, the name of a king is a Malak, just like the apostles. The word originally was Malak, means royal messenger. They all had the same name, and look at how, apostle means the packages that were sent out. The package, apostle, postal. Yeah, the post office. Oh, the postals, the apostles. They were shipped out as packages, you see, a commercial term, not a spiritual term, a corruption, a little game they play on us. How about that? Okay, so Yeshua in regard here is more excellent than the royal messengers, and by so much as the royal title that he has inherited, not name, but his royal title that he inherited is more excellent than any of theirs, being specifically Yeshua, of course. Yeshua. In the most deep original thought, it is Yashulim Va. Yashulim Va, and it means knowledge of the serpent that goes round. The primary word is knowledge, shul, or shulin, the knowledge that came down. Yal means that which goes round. Va, for the serpent, the knowledge of the serpent goes round. And Yashu is correctly spelled with two O's and not a U. And the two O's then represent sun and moon, the greater light and the lesser light, all symbols, because these letters are symbols that tell a story about our creation. And we'll be talking more about that in the future. Verse 5, so for unto which one from among the royal messengers at any time said Yahweh, you are my only loved seed. You are my only loved seed. Only loved, okay? And so that's what he said when he came up out of the water. This is my, not beloved, my only loved seed. And so we've got to be in Yeshua to be only loved as well. Then I have today engendered you. On this great age I have engendered you. And again, that's what it is. Not today. Great age. I just saw it. Let me take a note here. Okay, it keeps opening up. Okay, and where am I now? Okay, into this. Okay, this great age. Sorry about that, but if I don't grab it, it could be lost all over again. This is how the scriptures open up, of course, by continually reading them. Then they continually open up, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Are you reading every day? You picking up the book? Okay, you ain't picking up the book. Maybe you're not really serious about anything, because everything is wrapped up in our, seeing and reading it for ourselves. So. And he says he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, okay? But again, okay, so let me back this up now. So while you are my son, or you my only loved seed, and in this great age I have engendered you. That's it, in the great age. He saved that which was made from the beginning for the end. When he said it is finished, that's what it implies here. And again, I will be to him the Father, the power of creation, and he will be to me a Zan. A Zan meaning a star, meaning with infinite capability, and that's why he said all power is given unto me. But again, in the entire universe. And again, when bringing in the first engendered into the world, he breathed. Let all the royal messengers, let all the Malachim of Yahweh pay homage unto him. But concerning the royal messengers, this is how he has spoken. Who hath made his royal messengers spirits. That's us. He took us from the lower form of creation into a higher form of creation, transformed us as spirits, and ministers and little stars of a flaming fire. We are the little stars of flaming fire. But concerning the Zan, the son he has breathed, this only love seed, your throne, Yahweh, is forever and ever. A perfect scepter of light is the scepter of your royal domain. You have loved perfection in the flowing light and have hated inequity, darkness. Therefore, Yahweh, you, the great Elohim, your great Elohim hath anointed you with the oil of exaltation. Actually, it's a mistranslation here. It should be, and Yahweh hath anointed the great Elohim, that's Yeshua, although he is Yahweh as well, because the Father are and the Son are one. The Mother and Father are one as well. They're all one. It's the play of the one. Hath anointed you with the oil of truth and exaltation, the anointing of truth, more abundantly than your fellows. Actually, it says that it was given to him without measure, and certainly he needed it, considering what he did, right? Great graphic there, Shelley. You have loved perfection, okay, and again, you have 10, verse 10. You in the beginning have laid the foundations of the earth and of the cosmos and the earth, and the works are all the works of your hands, and the cosmos are the work of your hands, and they pass away, because anything that has a beginning has an ending. I'm interjecting there, and you in the beginning has laid the foundation of the earth, and they pass away. They pass away, but you will endure forever, and all they as vestments will become old as clothing. And as a garment, you will fold them up, and they will be changed. But you will, and isn't that interesting? Isn't that what he did with his burial garments, right? What did he do with his burial garments? He folded them when he rose from the dead, neatly put his head garment on at the head of the slab, and the other one at the feet of the slab, right? And not only that, I learned tonight about the gardener. I was reading something. I think it was in the story of Gilgamesh. Actually, I was looking at some video tonight, and in there they said even the character that was representing the savior of the world was actually represented as a gardener as well. Does that make sense? He's represented as God because he made the garden, the lower garden, the upper garden. He is the garden. You see? He is the garden. And that's why when the Mare was looking for him, and she thought she was looking at the gardener, and says, where have you put my Lord? If you will tell me, I'll go get him. And then he says, Mariam. And so you see, he was acting as a gardener to create the symbol. That's where we've got to get the picture. How did I miss that one? But then the light bulb finally goes off. Okay. And as a garment you shall fold them up, and they will be changed. But you will remain as you are, and your ages will not fail. But to which of from among the royal messengers hath he said at any time, sit at my right hand, which means sit by my power. Okay, that's an idiom. Sit by my right hand means to sit by my power, until I put your adversaries at a footstool beneath your feet. That's where they are. They're all footstools, and are not all they spirits of serving, who are sent forth on service on behalf of those who hereafter are to inherit salvation. So what he's saying here, as they are footstools, that they are therefore also spirits of ministration, who are sent forth in service on behalf of those who are hereafter called to inherit salvation, meaning that the world is serving us. It's there when we need it, to a surplus of what is out there in this lower garden, and we being the true sovereign, the sovereign in the sovereign, then these things come to our disposal at the time that we need them in the great mystery. And I know it's true because I've seen it all my life. It's been happening all my life, and this so these terms and these aspects are very significant, ladies and gentlemen, certainly. And then we're getting into chapter 2 now. I got a long way to go yet here, and therefore we are obligated to be more exceedingly careful in what we have heard, that we do not fail. For if the word which was uttered by royal messengers was confirmed, and every one who heard it and transgressed against it received a just retribution, how shall we escape if we despise those Eshavors, which themselves are our salvation? Those, namely, which began by our healer and sunrise, Lord, to be spoken, and by them who from him heard them in us were confirmed, when Yahweh witnessed concerning them by signs and by miracles and by various power and by the distributed gifts. Let's take a note here. And by distributed gifts, I'm working on the translation as we're doing this, of course. And distributed gifts of the Spirit of the purity that were bestowed according to his will. The gifts that were bestowed according to his will. What gifts? What gifts did he give you? I know he gave me a talent, and that was to be able to transliterate. And I'm absolutely astounded, to have the gift that he gave me. How did that happen? I climbed a mountain one day. Look at yesterday's program or Saturday's program. Okay, climbed a mountain, and look out. Do you think you're going to climb a mountain and go for a vision quest and come off and nothing's going to happen? Look out. 4:5. For it was not to the royal messengers he subjected the world, which is future, of which we disclose. That might be a weak translation there. I see some things in there. But as the Shultres, that scripture, declares and says, what is a shan? What is man? That you focus light on him. And the seed of the moon, that you do visit him. You did humble him to be, talking about Yeshua, to be less than the royal messengers, all the others, illuminated with honor, and hath placed upon his head the corona, and hast empowered him over the works of your hands. Empowered him over the works of your hands, all the works. In everything have you put into subjection under his feet. Now in this, that he subjected everything before him, he hath left nothing which he hath not subjected to him. Yet hitherto we see not that everything is subjected to him, and meaning according to repent and be baptized, to use their terminology, right? Because they did not make themselves subjects. They think they're running around doing their own thing, having fun and free will, and it will ultimately catch up with them. But him who was humbled to be less than the royal messengers, Yeshua, and then we see to be Yeshua himself in this form, for the sake of the passion of his death, what it stands for, and the illumination and honor set forth upon his head, for he, Yahweh, in his favor for all, for every Ashan hath tasted death. For it was proper to him by those whose hand are all, and on account of whom all are, and who would lead many Zans unto his great illumination, that the prince of their soul novation by suffering should be perfected. That's what he said to Nicodemus, right? He says, go, when Nicodemus told him better leave the country, he said to him, go tell that fox, Herod, today and tomorrow I'm learning to be a sacrifice, and after the third day, I will be perfected. So even on his journey on earth, he did not acknowledge to be being perfect, but was on the road to perfection, and the symbolism of it is when he is nailed to the cross. And that's when we are permanently fixed there. We're no longer doing stupid stuff. That's when we're nailed there. And that's when we rise from this death, once we have conquered the self and put on the true light of the truth. Okay? For he who sanctified and they who are sanctified are all from one. Wherefore he has not been ashamed to call them his brothers, as when he says, I will announce your royal title unto my brothers, and in the center of the perfect circle of the called out ones, church, I will create light for you. And again, I will put my confidence in him. And again, you must see and read it for yourself. Me and the Zans of whom you have given me, Yahweh, for as much as the Zans have been made to participate in flesh and blood, he also likewise was made a partaker of these very things, that by his death he might abolish, her, because this is the feminine creation, might abolish her who held the power of death. Who held the power of death? What? Matter, lower creation, the tomb of the body. We've got to kill it metaphysically, not physically, but metaphysically, and through the psyche. Okay, and who is also known as Here it says Satan, but it's a cover for the serpent. The serpent, which is, of course, the flesh. You seen any serpents walking around lately? Go look in the mirror. Okay, because we all have serpent. In fact, you know what? I just learned the meaning, in fact, of another definition of serpent today, and reading one of out of the Dictionary of Myths and Symbol of Scriptures. Okay, that the serpent is the symbol of wisdom. So you see, that's why Pharaoh was wearing the cobra on his headdress, because the serpent is a symbol of wisdom. So it has a double meaning. There's the white serpent, the black serpent. So which one are you? You wise, or you the black in the darkness, empty, void? Okay, so it's about the definition. Okay, so the serpent is not evil. It's not evil by itself, but if a serpent, just like a gun, a gun is not bad. Guns are bad. No, they're not bad. Guns have no objective. They're there. They're just laying there, and whoever picks it up, that serpent, the gun could be used for good or bad. So how do you use your life? Is your life being used for good or for bad? Okay. So where are we at here? And those, okay, and set loose them who in fear of death had been all their lives subjected to slavery. Slavery of what? The flesh. Slavery of the flesh. For not from any royal messenger did he take, but from the seed of Zavramhaim, Abraham, the sovereign of the tribe, the Zavram. That's Abraham. He wasn't a ham. Sorry to tell you, okay? He was a Zavram. He was a ram, a soul ram, a star ram. Those are the meanings in his original thought title, not Abraham. That's a corruption. Zavramhaim. We've been lied to, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing, to have had these things revealed over a long process of time, and then to be seeing and reading it for myself. It's like, whoa, how long did it take to get here? And the only one who showed me was Yeshua, direct, okay? Nobody told me these things. He revealed them over a long process, revealed them. He's a revealer. He's the big serpent, okay? He's the great logo, the Ouroboros in the sky, the sun going round. So, nice new graphic there, Shell, beautiful. And but he took on the seed of Zavramhaim, the pure Aryan line. That's what that is, the pure Aryan. No denigration to any other race, though, okay? It's just that the Aryans were supposed to bring truth to mankind, and they became corrupt themselves and wanted to enslave mankind. This part of the story, but there was a small little family that came out of the Aryans that maintained the course for history, okay? The forbidden history, of course. Therefore, it was right that in everything he should be rendered like unto his brothers, right? He became like us so that we could become like him in spirit, that he might be compassionate and a high priest, a priest in the eye of the return, faithful in all things pertaining to Yahweh, That's the mother father, actually, Yahweh, and um, and become an expiation for the blindness of the people, because we were in trouble. For in this that he has suffered, have been tempted, and is able to help those also who are being tempted. Okay, so so let's go to a break, Shell, and we'll be right back um, with chapter 3 in Etheridge's translation of the Aramaic New Testament while I read in the original thought. I transliterate as I go. I've been transliterating for over 40 years. I've been doing it for a long time because I saw the corruptions. I just didn't know the correct root forms, and it took over 40 years in the wilderness to have them all open up to me. So glad you tuned in. Hope you're telling your friends. You did tell your friends, right? Okay, we want to have a revolution in thinking, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for doing that. Okay, I'm Dezert-Owl. Be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you on this memorial dial, the dial that keeps on spinning. Okay, there's your word, day. Day is dial, and how come nobody told us that in school, huh? How come nobody gets the picture? What's going on here? And but the lies are prevalent. The lies are, like the other one. Mark gave us the first gospel. Mark, a little teenage boy, didn't even follow Yeshua, because he was too young. May have seen him talk once or something, but not likely, because he was a follower of Kepha in particular. When Kepha went, Peter, misnomered as Peter, the big lie, Kepha, went through Greece and to Rome. Then Mark followed him and wrote down in Latin the gospel, and excuse me, I've got a cough here. Hang on. And like, okay, Matthew and Luke, who followed Yeshua everywhere in his when he was on Earth, was there in Yochelleg. They waited 30 years before they wrote their versions. Yeah, right. Matthew to the Hebrews. So the lies are so prevalent. Just watch any documentary, okay? You'll know when they're lying to you because they'll be talking. As soon as you turn on the documentary, boom, 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 everything they just told you in the documentary about Yeshua, about the history, about Jerusalem, or Peter or Paul. It's all a fabrication. Slight tinge on the truth, a little general truth to it. Oh yeah, he did go to Damascus, but all the other things that they bring up in these stories are convoluted. Convoluted. A perfect example is like how they've changed the scriptures. Is when you go to the book of Acts and we got the guy Stephen. Stephen, I saw it finally for the first time like 4 or 5 months ago, and I was reading one more time through Acts. Got to read it again, and I get to the first, third or fourth chapter of Acts, wherever it is, and it says that Stephen, he's talking to the Sanhedrin. I think it is the Sanhedrin or the Pharaoh's shame, and and it says that his face shone, like an angel. I think it said shone like an angel, and when I read it, I said, wait a minute. No, it didn't shine like an angel because I already knew angel was a interpolated word, and I said, well, if it's shining, what shines? The sun. And I said, wait a minute. His name, what it really said here was at the end of the verse was that his face, when he's talking to them, telling them the truth, this man filled with the Spirit, his face was shining like the sun. And that's exactly what Moses Shaul's face was doing when he came off the mountain with the 10 judgments, the 10 commandments. It said he had Quran coming off of him. Quran is the corona, the rays of light projecting. Can you imagine him walking off a mountain and seeing this guy with his head with rays of light glowing from him? What it would look like, the image, just imagine it for a moment. Well, that's what was happening with Stephen. And when I read that, I said, wait a minute. His name isn't Stephen. It's Star Ram. He's the Star Ram. Also, the word sovereign comes out of that. Stephen, the star fan. There it is, the star fan. Fan for the power, fan for the philthought, the light particles that spin down. The prime root of the word for the sun is sharfan, and there you can hear the word sharfan and serpent and sharpen, and all these other words come out. These are the original words. And so Stephen is the star fan. The star fan, or the czar fan also. But you get the picture that he was representing something to them in their face for what they had done to Yeshua, and he comes there in meekness and gentleness to convey the true message to them, and they've got nothing but smoke coming out of their ears and their faces, and they want to kill him for reminding them of their propaganda machine and of their being merchants, because they were merchants. They weren't there for the truth. They were there to control all the people, to rake in all the money, and to have a party and forgive the French, but screw everybody else, And so this is how these Aishavors open up, ladies and gentlemen. They open up in the Great Mystery, and when you get the picture, just like you know where you were. Well, at least I did because I'm old enough. You know, when Kennedy was shot, I was in second grade, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when the nuns told us, "Everybody stand up, your president has been shot." You know, so I don't forget when I got these visions come to me. You know, I don't forget because it's a moment in history, in the forbidden history, and this is how a lot of my visions, you know, come in that way. I just don't forget when it happened because it's like, you know, the scales come off your eyes, you know, and that's what Yeshua does. He heals the blind, you know, so they can see. So he's constantly revealing, and get with the program, okay? Because he wants to reveal for you, okay? He can deal direct with you. You can deal direct with him. I'm just a supplement until you can walk on water yourself, see and read it for yourself. Okay, and we're all in the same boat. You know, we have to come out of that boat onto the higher waters of illumination. So, chapter 3 in the book of Hebrews. Oh, and by the way, Hebrews is a corruption, and this one was the biggest enigma. I knew there was something wrong with it because there's no W in the original; it's a V, but it is the Avres. The Avres. And the Avres are the star rays, okay, the star rays. The star rays. Were, in other words, what it meant was they were a ray of light coming down that came down that were not corrupted. What they call the Anunnaki, which are not really aliens, but were the sky gods, the sun gods, aka the Aryans. The Aryans that came down, why? Because they had blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, taller than everybody else, you know. So and had a classic Aryan beauty, and so they were noted. Ninja wants to call in before I do chapter 3. Well, then get on that phone, Ninja, right now. Okay, and so where was I going with that? Okay, just that. The star rays. So the reason they were called star rays is because they were coming down from a broken and corrupted Aryan line that fell apart. Okay, but there was one line that remained true, and that was through Enoch, through Nova. There's new star. He's not Noah, not Noe like in the Septuagint, but he's Nova, a new star. And then through Melchizedek, also known as Asham, who was Yeshua incarnate as Melchizedek, and then through Zavramhaim, and then through Yochelleg, Jacob, you know, and on through the line. This is the great mystery, and nobody's telling the story in depth, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody, except yours truly, right here. And I'm glad you're tuned in, because we need to see and read it for ourselves. Okay, and so I guess we've got a caller coming in. I'm going to wave my magic wand over the phone, and it will start ringing here. Otherwise, I got to start reading, or I got to do a song and dance. Who am I? Why am I here? Hang on. Let's see. Shelley sent me a message. And she said 1 second. Okay, well, 1 second is up, and so I better start reading. And by the way, you can also call in on Skype. All right, Skype is available, and you were going to call Forbidden History Live. Do a search for Skype, and I'm so happy, Shelley. We went from 13 subscribers to 14. What a major event that is. You know, it took 3 weeks or longer, and we got one more. And so everybody, please tell your friends about the broadcast, because we are going where nobody else is going. Oh, there she is. Okay. Hello, Ninja, in Australia. How you doing? I don't know. Is it a good day? Are you telling me, or are you asking me?
And stuff, but the snow is right next to me. It's not actually in my backyard, and it's colder next to the snow. So it's freezing.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a little early for the snow to come yet, isn't it?
Yes, it's really weird this year. They were kind of regular for the last few years. It would get really, really cold right on my birthday, which was at the beginning of this month.
Well,
and it did not.
Yeah.
It got cold, and then it went back to perfect autumn weather. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's absolutely freezing with snow, but we don't normally get snow for about another month.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all over the place. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So.
mm-hmm. And you were born on May
so,
Day? May Day, first day of May?
Yes, I was born on May Day. That's what they said when I was born.
You're not related to the Illuminati, are you? They chose May Day as their occult day of discovering America.
I'm starting to wonder. Yeah,
okay.
I'm starting to wonder actually because
right.
I'm half English as well.
Okay, well, could be a connection there.
Yeah.
Right. So you know when my birthday is?
I know it's at the end of
We
May.
talked about it. It's today. Memorial Day. Yeah, I'm remembering myself on Memorial Day. Yes, my mission on Earth. What I'm doing here.
Wow,
yeah.
I missed it because it's the day after your birthday here now.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're in the future. Okay, calling back.
Yeah,
all right.
I apologize.
No, it's all right. I mean, you've had enough of these. You're not looking for them anymore. And then they pop up again. They never let you down.
they got a habit of doing that.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how you doing?
Well, am I doing it or am I doing it?
You are doing it.
All right. That's how I'm doing it.
Are.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really know how to put it because I feel like I should know, but I'm going to ask anyway.
You didn't ask me how old I am though. You didn't want to know that, huh? You're afraid to ask, right?
Well,
Desert's pretty
old.
I
know how old you are.
What?
I just added a year to the last time you told me how old
okay. All right. 63. Of course, if I add the time in the mother's womb like they do in the old time, then I'm 64. So it depends upon whether you include the first. Yeah.
So, actually, Desert, so I'm a year older than what I actually am.
That's right. I gave you good news, didn't I? All right.
Thanks. It's
yeah.
true. Anyway.
Yeah, and give me an audio check on Ninja because I'm trying to hold the phone close, but I want to know that everybody can hear her. We got to fix the bug here. We got to do something. Thank you, Shelley.
I need to get my Skype going.
Thank you, Yala. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I will ask this for the benefit of new listeners as well, because it stood out for me. That's all. So I'm multitasking. I'm just trying to get the stream up on the computer. Anyway, back towards the beginning of the program, or when I started to tune in properly. I apologise for missing the start. I will go back and listen. You mentioned the part that you had to write down. You mentioned the Great Age. Was it the Great Age? Yeah?
Oh, you mean the Golden Age of Light or the Age of the Second Born that Yeshua ushered in?
Yeah. So you said, I'm pretty sure you said the Great Age.
Well, it is the Great Age. It is the Great Age. Oh, you mean for tonight's reading in the first chapter, perhaps, right? Okay. Yeah.
It was earlier. Sorry, I haven't been able to get anything out to follow along or take notes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The Great Age is what Yeshua ushered in. It was the fulfillment of creation, because the first creation, the firstborn in creation, meaning everybody, are born in the darkness. They're born in the fall as seed of the moon, and so they have to. That's why they have to be a second born, and it comes to the final great age that Yeshua ushered in when he rose from the dead. When he rose from the dead, when did he do it? At a sunrise, and that first sunrise, was the official beginning of the great golden age of light of the second born, for the truth and for the fulfillment of creation. Because when Elohim made and notice distinction between Yahweh, because it wasn't Yahweh, but it was Elohim. Yahweh creates Elohim. Elohim then becomes a creator, and so that which creates can only create something below them. You can't create something greater than yourself. And so when Yahweh creates Elohim, and Elohim then creates man, and so in the process, because only Yahweh can make something perfect, and that was the first atom, Yeshua, therefore the second made, or the second creation, being Adam, the first made on earth, as we read in Genesis, then taken up to the throne of the Son, also known as Eden, which is correctly the atom. He's there naming everything while Yeshua is making everything. But because he was not made by Yahweh and only made by the Elohim, he therefore did not have the perfection in him. He was made perfectly, but he did not have, only because he was a copy of the original. Only the original had the perfection, and it was based on the Spirit, certainly. And so that's part of the great mystery. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Yada. Yeah.
Ninja. Sorry.
Well, and so the bottom line is, we had to be born a second time, out of the darkness into the light, out of the flesh and into the spirit. This is the objective, and it is the race that we are running, and we have a promise that we will receive the gift of the Spirit, the earnest of our inheritance from when we leave here, the earnest that we receive here, that carries us. So until we receive the Spirit, we're in the grave with Yeshua and are waiting to rise from the dead. Lazarus, come forth. Notice, Lazarus was in the grave 3 days and 3 nights, and he rose on the 4th day. That was a picture of what Yeshua was going to do just a week before, or days before he did the same thing. You see how it all fits?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Right.
That was beautifully said.
Yeah, no, because nobody defines these things. You've only heard it here. Okay, never heard anybody define these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So while I'm on the phone, I want to encourage others again. I'm on repeat. Please call in during the live streams, because it will benefit. It will benefit you. It will benefit me. It will benefit everybody in the chat and everybody who listens. You get to talk to the one and only person who knows this, who is talking about this.
Now she's,
You're hearing here first, and you get to talk to the one person who is deciphering and, sorry, I have no words.
well, you keep calling me a serpent. I love it. You know, the one person.
Yeah.
You know, one serpent, person, code. Person is serpent. You know what I mean? You've heard it? Okay. So thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. You can refer to me as spirit. A bird is a spirit. So anyway, you know what I mean. I'm joking with you. You know, okay. I can have fun on my birthday, okay?
You've got me giggling. I've had like 2 cups of coffee.
And thank you to Take the Old. Wait a minute, I just want to say thank you to Take the Old Devil, Teresa. She said happy birthday. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate it. Good to have you today. Okay?
G'day, Take. And my question was about the word age, A-G-E. The E, I don't know how to put it, because my brain doesn't work very well at the moment, because I'm multitasking. We know the A is okay, we know the G is okay, but the E, would you be able to decode that for our listeners, possibly? The word age?
Age, okay. Well, the letter A is the symbol of the sun. The letter G is a symbol of the sun, and also for geode, meaning that which is round, so it defines it graphically. And then the E, noting that the capital letter E has 3 lines that come off of it. It is, and the top line is long, but the middle line on the capital E is shortest. And then the longest line is at the bottom, which represents the great age of Yeshua. So the capital E with the 3 lines coming off like a rake represent the 3 ages of our race, of the Aryan race in particular. You know, forget the Hindu Kali Yugas and all that stuff, because that was all created for diversion from the truth that was in the true salvation, soul novation, creation of the Aryan story, to get us off track. But the only ages that we need to focus on are the ones that were ushered in through the birth of Adam, the birth of the Aryan race, and what therefore the age before the flood. It was a long one. Then the age after the flood, it was a short one. What was it? 3,000 years, give or take. And then the Great Age. That's why the bottom line is the longest line. Okay, and we got a blank screen.
Wow.
Yeah, we got a blank screen, Shelley. I don't know what that means, but right now, oh, there it is. Okay, she's doing something. We heard it. You heard it here first. Happy birthday, Desert. We love you. Thank you, Shelley. Great graphic. I appreciate that. And so, okay, so Ninja, I hope the serpent didn't interrupt you. Did you get it out? Okay, or did I answer it for you?
You just confirmed something for me. I remember back during your live streams on the Forbidden History series. Hang on a second. Sorry, I'm being interrupted. Would you please keep talking so I can stay on the phone?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 second.
All righty.
I have a question.
All right. So, and we will be on with Ninja Cat 111 on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, ladies and gentlemen, and then on Sundays again with Ninja Cat 111 on Sunday 10 a.m. as well. Okay. So I just gave me your schedule. You're on.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, you just confirmed something for me. Back when sorry, that just threw me. During the Forbidden History series, please go back and listen from June 21st last year, 2018. It's amazing. When I called in and I asked you a question about uppercase and lowercase, how during these current times, capital letters are perceived as yelling when writing them.
That's what people say. That's what people say.
Yeah,
that's their own illusion. In their minds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw why they switched it, like why they added the little letters, like with the E, how you were saying during the last Chronicles with the E and the I and how they flipped it and everything. I'm just blown away, Desert.
Okay.
Just blown away. I can't explain what I'm.
Yeah. Well, the small letters came in about 1,000 years ago, give or take. The small letters were developing, and it was because they were creating additional. In other words, Europe, just like America, is a pilot project of experimentation, and so different parts of the European continent, just like the different states here in America, will do different programs and different experiments in the same agenda, but do it differently, like within the schools or with medicine or anything political or potentially political. And so they created a small letter system, moved away from the capital letters in England, the English, but then little by little they crept in the capital letters, started with just the title at the beginning of a paragraph. They'd put a big capital A or capital, for the first word, but then they moved it into then the first of every name. Now my photostatic copy of the first English translation of the Bible by John of Wycliffe, 1382, a facsimile from the British Museum, all the words that are nouns, meaning names of people or Yeshua, all are small letters. You see, so they put the camel under the tent, and only the first letter of a paragraph has a capital letter. But then within the next 100 or 200 or whenever years coming along, then they move in the capital letters, and now you got a capital letter at the beginning of your name or your title. And so the capital letters took over the names and nouns, and therefore you have a dual system. Well, never in history did we ever have a double alphabetical system. It was either all capital letters or it was another type of an alphabet, just one alphabet. But now we've got two. So we got Doublemint.
The same size.
Doublemint. Which one
Yeah.
is it? You know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they've reversed everything.
They really mixed it up.
Well, right. So the small letters technically now are the sovereign letters, uh, uh, and then the capital letters are also known as war diction in military. They write all the letters in all capital letters, but it was the original sovereignty. It was the original alphabet, the capital letters. Of course, they looked a little different in ancient time, but they're perfected by modern day Kabbalism, and they're right on. In other words, they couldn't be more perfect as they are now in our modern alphabet. Yeah. So, and that's what we'll be talking about more in the future.
That's why the deceivers have slowly brought the capital letters back in, because they are the original and they have power, and that's why they're using them. Is that right?
Well, they control everything, and so if they can, in other words, when you go into court and they say, "Are you, Ninja Cat 111?" and if you say, "Yes, I am," well, guess what? When he was reading off the paper, your name was in all capital letters, and so the right answer would be, "No, I am not Ninja Cat 111. I am Ninja Cat 111. So you say it from your being. You don't let him say it from his being, because his being is wrong, because it's called an item sonan. It's the sound of the item sounds like you, looks like you, but it's not you, because it's a different alphabetical system, and therefore it's a fiction. You see? Yeah, it's a fiction. So no, it's not me. Your paper is defective. I don't see my title anywhere on your paper. Black's Law, 4th edition, here in America, Black's Law Dictionary, defines name as a corporation or a trust. So really, we don't have a name. We want a title. Now, don't you notice that the people in England, especially, or the nobilities around the world, they all claim to be holding title, and they don't have names. And you can buy a title. I'd like to be Johannes Hungerberg Hungerbonger, and I'll pay $100,000 for it, and then everybody can call me Johannes. Johann. Okay, I don't want to be known as Figglebondy anymore. And so they sell their titles, and people have to call you something different. It's amazing how this grand scheme is operating all along. Yeah.
Wow.
I want to know how they pay their electric bill. That's what I want to know. They got some pretty good money.
Thank you, Navigator, for deciphering all this for us.
Oh, sure.
Wow.
Okay, we better get back to the reading, because otherwise we're going. I think we were going to do reading here today, but I'm glad to have you calling in. Ninja, did we answer all your questions? Anything else?
No, that will be all for now.
All for now?
Thank you.
One for all and all for now? All right. Well, very good. You're okay, and hope things work out on your end, and you are able to do the things you got to do. I know you're going through a lot, and hope you get support, from your friends and listeners as well down there. Okay, so we're gonna let you go and get back to the forbidden history of the Book of Hebrews, and I'm glad you're seeing and reading it for yourself. And I can tell you, you've come a long way, and you're seeing things on your own, and then sharing it, and I things with me that you're seeing for the first time. So it's fun to watch, to see others out there. I'm not alone anymore. Whoa, what a deal!
I feel the same. I'm not alone anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Love you, and I love you guys in the chat always.
All right.
Always creating life for all of you.
All right, Ninja. We'll see you on the chat. Peace and love.
Okay. Thank you. Peace
All
and love.
right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right. That was Ninja Cat 111. And, yeah. So she's was carrying the ball for me when I lost my ability to do my own program because my computers have been going down one a year due to the Illuminazis that are in my community here. So stuff just happens, let me put it that way. All right. Stuff just happens. And so I've been working at a deficit. And so our wonderful foundational group of friends here are keeping it going. and so we're getting it out nonetheless, and I'm excited about it. It's an interesting format being on YouTube, and from when I had my own network, therealpublicradio.net. Go check it out. Okay. So chapter 3, we're in chapter 3 on the book of Hebrews, and we may just do half the book tonight, and then we'll do the other half on the next broadcast. And chapter 3, wherefore my pure brothers, who have been called with the calling that is from the throne of the Son, contemplate the Malik of the priest in the eye of the return of our confession, Yeshua the Moeshiach, who is faithful, has was here. They always get that word was in there, and it's is. And who is faithful to him who made him, as was Moesha, Moses, in all his house. For greater is the illumination of this one by far than the illumination of Moesha, even as, and then, by the way, the word illumination was glory. See, so that's how they hide the word glory, and they, thank you that way for your comment there. Okay, yeah, been doing that one for years, so really, when I was a political activist. So the word illumination is coded. They don't like the word illumination. They don't want us to know we can be illuminated. And of course, they take on the name and give it a bad rap. But the illumination is what we want, and the word glory is the code. And of course, glory in the literal sense, the G meaning the sun, and lorry, as it sounds like a truck, means the movement of light. Okay. The movement of light. Even as the honor of him who built the house is far greater than that of the building. For every house by some Eshan is builded, but he who built all things is Yeshua bar Yavohe, Yeshua, the son of Yavohe. And Moesha, as a Shurfan servant, was loyal in all of his house for the declaration of those things which were to be announced by him and, of course, through him. But as the Moeshiach, the son, over his own house, and his house are we are his house and temple, if unto the end we will hold fast our confidence and the triumph of his opening, because he's opening a door for us. He's making us an offer. Will you accept it? Therefore, the Shvire, the spirit of purity, the anointed purity, hath breathed. Today, if you will hear his voice, give him your ear, and harden not your heart unto the angering of him, as did the embitterers, and as the day of temptation in the desert, when your fathers tested me. They tempted me and proved me and saw my works 40 years, on which account I was wearied with that generation. Remember, they were the firstborn. And they didn't go into the promised land. Okay? So there's a great symbolism there, and that's why Israel was annihilated, because they were not capable of living up to the perfect standard that Yeshua ushered in for those who wanted to become the second born. Get the picture, ladies and gentlemen, of this deep story, the greatest supernatural story and account ever written, for sure. On which account I was wearied with that generation, and said, it is a people that does err in their heart, and that has not known my true way. So that I swear in my wrath that they should, and wrath would be in my great fire. That's the way it would have said it in the original thought. I swore by my great fire that they will not enter into my rest. Beware, therefore, my brothers, lest there be in any Eshan among you a blind heart, that which cannot follow, and you depart from Yahweh, the living one. I take a note here. Where's my pens? Whoa. My pen's disappeared. Isn't that weird? Sorry about that. Technical difficulty here. I'm taking notes. I've got no pens. What happened? All right, I'll work on it. Hang on. It's rough when that happens live on the broadcast. Okay, there we got a pen. Okay. Where did they go? That's the question. O-N-E. Okay, yeah, we transliterate right on the broadcast. There they are. Okay. Hiding. All right. So, but examine yourselves all the days, the Diels, until the Diel, which is called that great golden age. And you see, here's one of the problems that's within our scriptures that you need to take note of, ladies and gentlemen, that they use the word day and age and world all interchangeably. Which is it? Is it an age? Is it the world? Where like in the scriptures, it might say it's the end of the world, like it does in Hebrews 9:26, I think, and Yeshua came at the end of the world. But what it really means is, of course, we know it wasn't the quote unquote literal end of the world, because the world continued. So it's a metaphor, but it literally then means the end of an age, because he was ushering in the great golden age of light. And so this is the problem we have. And then sometimes they use the word day. So how are we going to get it? And that's why, going back to the original, or what's closest to the original, like looking at the Greek word or looking at the Aramaic or the Hebrew, at least to see where it's coming from. But of course we have to then know that they abbreviated the words. They've changed the words. They've switched them out. They've done all this presto magico stuff that unless you really got deep into it and got and had a revelation, you'd never figure it out. It's not possible to figure this stuff out. You have to become touched by the great Father of Light, and okay, which is called the great golden age, and they took the word gold right out. Of course, that's one of those terms. And lest any one of you be hardened in the deception of blindness and darkness, for we are made, and those are the two primary words for sin. It means to close the eye of the sun, or blindness, or darkness, and these are all interchangeable. You find the word that seems the best to fit. Sin also implies missing the mark, but it's because you're blind, or it's because you're in darkness. Try shooting an arrow in the dark, So for we are made now that's verse 14. For we are made participators with the Mo'eshiach, if from the beginning and unto the end, in the very standing we steadfastly persist, as that it is said today, in this great age, if you will give ear to his voice. And that's what today implies. See, it's like I'm seeing these things even as I'm sharing with you, Yeshua is showing me. And because it's not, today, yeah, but it really means in this great age. That's what today means, because this is the great age when the truth has been revealed. We're no longer in the darkness of that old world. But what happened is an occult event occurred through the Roman Empire and occultism and secret societies, and they took over the golden age of light, and they brought us back into darkness. They even called it the Dark Ages. Wow. Wonder how that happened. So for who are they? So in this great age, if you will hear his voice and harden not your hearts to provoke him. For who are they who gave ear and provoked him? Not all they who came out of Mitzrayim. There's Mitzrayim right there. It doesn't say Egypt. It says Mitzrayim. Okay? That's what we've been telling you here. Out of the Aramaic, by the hand of Moshe. They came out of Mitzar by the hand of Moshe. With whom was he wearied 40 years? But with those who closed their eyes, the blind, they closed their eyes. That's another term for sin and darkness as well. They closed their eyes, and whose bones fell in the desert. And of whom did he swear that they would not enter into his rest, but of those who would not be persuaded. And we see that they were not able to enter in because they would not follow, could not, and did not. Okay, chapter 4. Let us fear which means give great reverence. Therefore, lest while there is a confirmed promise of an entrance into his rest, anyone shall be found among you remaining from entering in. For we have been evangelized as well as they, but the Eshavor which they heard did not profit them, because not contempered, that's an interesting word, contempered, with victory of light in them who heard it. But we enter into the rest, we being of those who have followed, but as he hath breathed, so I swear in my fire, in my great fire, that they would not enter into my rest. For you must see and read it for yourself. The works of Yahweh from the beginning of the world are seen. Are seen. Not were seen, but are seen. Just open your eyes. As he said concerning the Shavat, the Sabbath, Shavat, the royal eye of the serpent. That's the Shavat. Why is it the royal eye of the serpent? Because it's when it goes from the last day of the week back to the first, from Saturn way out there on the farthest ring, going back to the middle to the sun, the royal eye of the serpent. You see, that's the Shavat, the royal eye of the. That's what it means. Okay, literally, a Shavat. Of course, they took the A off of the front of a bunch of words. They abbreviated them, as I told you, at the College of Abbreviators. So even shalom is a shalom. There's the word Asha, clearly a shalom. And the word Asha we talk about here is one of the big words they stole from us. And just like the capital letters, they love putting it in our face on the driver's license. They put Asha minor and Asha, the big Asha, on the map, and we don't even know what that means. Nobody ever tells us, but they put it on the map right in our face, see it all of our lives, and nobody defines it for us. We go to the grave dead and stupid, and unenlightened. So, and as he said concerning his Shavat, Yavohe, the great Elohim, rested on the seventh day from all of his works. And yet here again he breathes, they will not enter into my rest. Therefore, because there was a place into which every one of them might have entered, and they who had it announced first, did not enter in. Okay, the firstborn did not enter in, for as much as they would not be persuaded. They could not be persuaded. How could that be with going through the? Imagine if you were saved through the great, Red Sea splitting apart, and saw all those miracles in the Tower of Fire and the column of, smoke and everything. You saw that, and you can't figure it out. That's really got to be something, I remember all the miracles that have happened in my life, and I have to stop and reflect on them every now and then, just to say, yeah, I know he lives. I know I'm the problem, and I've got to work it out, because he's good to go. He is so powerful. He's been communicating with me all my life, and so he's been guiding me. That dark cloud. The dark cloud has been guiding me through the wilderness for 40 years, and that light in the night, and because we have really been screwed up. We have been totally twisted by the serpent world, occult, and what we have heard about what they've done to people, right? Ritual sacrifices, blood drinking, torture, burned at the stake. What has man done to man? Man meaning criminal and sinner in Old English, and worse in the Talmud. All right. So, therefore, okay, so the man will not enter into my rest. Therefore, because there was a place into which one of them might have entered, and they who had announced it first did not enter, for as much as they would not be persuaded. Verse 7, moreover, as another day he appointed, another age. Let me write that word there, because that's the day, is the age. They actually are the same word, in the original, and that's how it could have been a mistake. because they didn't know which way to go, and they said, okay, well, I'll use day, but it is age. Another age he appointed, because that was the age prior, and no, it's an age that's coming. Okay, after much time. So we're talking what, since Yochelleg, since the Exodus? Okay, so that'd be 1,500 years, still a long way away. Now, I wouldn't want to wait around that long. That'd be a long wait, and I wouldn't be there. After much time, as above it is written that Tavat, not David, Tavat, T-A-V-A-T, Tavat, they switched out the T's for D's, and D's are the letters of death, destruction, doom, darkness, dearth, you name it. Okay, that Tavat hath breathed. Today, if you hear his voice, you will hear. Do not harden your hearts. But if Yeshua Bar Nun, that's Joshua Bar Nun, right? And there's none. You can see Nun in there. That's what I've been telling you for the longest time, that the U is hiding the two O's. Put it back, and you get the picture, don't you? High noon, the enlightenment of high noon, the knowledge of Yeshua Bar Nun. He was the symbol, and that's when I discussed. Then I realized that Jesus was a corruption of terms. Okay, and when I saw that guy Joshua, and I said, "Man, he looks like an archetype of Jesus." And and so I kept looking at it and said, "Yeah, look at the story. Look at this. Read the story. Yeah, okay. So his name is Joshua, but wait a minute. Okay, there is no J. The letter J just came to us a couple hundred years ago, 200 years or a little more. And so wait a minute. So it's Yahshua. And it's not Yeshua, because in the Babylonian Talmud, Yeshua is a curse that means let his name be blotted out forever. And they got all the Messianic Jews, quote unquote, following Yeshua, and it's pretty messianic, because they don't even get it, because they're being controlled, another mind control of tradition. They control all the traditions. Isn't it just a wonderful world, Mr. Smith? I'm telling you. Okay, and so he appointed an age after much time, as above it is written, Tavat, in this age, if you hear his voice, you will hear, and harden not your hearts. But if Yeshua Bar Nun, verse 8, but if Yeshua Bar Nun had established them in rest, he would not have spoken afterwards of another age. Age, okay, not day, age. Let me write it down again. So, this is the problems we have with translations, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to become a scholar. You've got to, or may the mercy of the Father be upon you, because we've been lied to. Okay, therefore, yet to enjoy an Shabbatism is confirmed to those people of Yahweh. For he who has entered into his rest hath also rested himself from his own works. That's right, you stop doing your own thing, you're going to do his thing, as Yahweh did for us. Let us therefore anxiously endeavor to enter into that rest, that we fail not after the manner of those who were not persuaded. For living is the Eshavor, the word of Yahweh, and all acting, and more, all acting meaning nothing he can't do, and totally, Yeshua is the active agent in our universe. Yeshua, he is all things, he sees all things, he knows all things, and more penetrating than a two-edged sword, and entereth into the separation of the soul from the spirit, and of the joints and the marrow and the bones, and discerneth the reasoning and counsel of the heart. Neither is there any creature or creation that is concealed from before him, but everything is naked and revealed before his eye, not eyes, singular, before his eye, because he is a one eye. He is focused. That's why he can see all things. He don't have two eyes. He has one eye. He is the eye in the great mystery, to whom they will give account. Therefore, having such a great priest in the eye of the return representing the logo, which is the Son, Yeshua, the Moeshiach, the Zan, or seed, because a seed brings in infinite number. That's the word zan, where it comes from, like sand on the beach without number. The zan is the seed or the son of Yavohe, seed of Yavohe, seed of light, in other words, seed of the sun, who hath ascended up to the throne of the sun. And heaven is a code word, and it really means the even. And as you can see, it's H is the even, the even is the evening. That's when the sun goes down. There's an occultic trickery again. You see the heaven. That's why when you see heaven, typically it means the sun, but it could mean the cosmos or the sky. But typically it means the sun, and they had to take away the light. You know, the occult hate the light, right? Come on, they're going to take away those terminologies. They don't want us to get the picture that the sun is the source of everything. Everything came out of the light, whether we're talking, spiritually or physically, metaphysically or physically. It all came out of the light. There was a star, boom, and that's why we go around it, because it is our mother. It is our mother star. Earth is our mother earth. Our body is also our mother for our spirit, the house the temple of our spirit. You've got to see things like they're not teaching it, ladies and gentlemen, like, and get the pictures, because the pictures are what establishes the profound nature of this truth. Okay. You can see it with pictures when you can get the picture. And so who Yahweh, the seed of the light, who hath ascended up to the throne of the Son, let us persevere in the confession of him, for we have not an high Amen priest who cannot suffer along with our infirmity. That's really great news, to know that he's right there with us in our suffering, and brings us a sign, that he sees what we're going through. But one who, having been tempted in everything as we, was separate from blindness, separate from darkness. Let us for this reason approach him with confidence to the throne of his favor for all, that we may receive mercy and find the favor for all. Grace is a code for favor for all. There's nobody that will not receive favor if they ask for favor. It's favor for all. It was meant for everyone. Just like he said, he lets the sun shine on everybody, even all those scumbags that are out there, those worthless pieces of garbage, those psychopathic murderers, those lying, thief, and Steve. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, even they can receive the grace if they would ever just stop what they're doing, but they're not going to, because they took blood oaths. Let us therefore approach him with confidence to the throne of his favor for all, that we may receive mercy and find the favor for all to help in the times of our affliction. And if we could go to another musical interlude, Shelley will be on chapter 5. We'll maybe just read a couple more, and I'm certainly here to take a call if anybody else wants to call in. And you are tuned into the Forbidden History series and the Original Thought Transliteration Project. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it, ladies and gentlemen. And I am Dezert-Owl, your host, a bird who sees in the night. You did tell your friends, didn't you? Oh, you didn't tell your friends? Well, come on now. You wanted to know. So do your friends a favor, okay? Even tell your enemies, okay? We don't care. Bring them on, because this is only going to be for a short moment in history. You know that. It's the forbidden history. What do you think? You think they're going to let this go on? Come on. No, of course not. They'll find a way to put the wrench in there. So don't go away. We'll be right back. ladies and gentlemen, to the Forbidden History Live, okay? And I'm your host, Dezert-Owl. And good night to y'all, love. She's got to turn in over there. And we go around the world. Yeah, we reach out and touch people all around the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite a phenomena we have in this modern time to be able to reach around the world in a split second practically, and to hopefully make a difference for somebody out there. What pervades is a sea of lies, and the truth is well, it's not prevalent, And there's an old quote that I like, the lies will race around the world, but then while the truth is quietly and slowly putting on its tennis shoes, something like that. And so, the truth doesn't have to worry about, man, I better get out there real quick to tell somebody. No, because the truth stands by itself, and people who are prepared in their hearts and their minds can receive it. And but the truth is not a part of any lie, ladies and gentlemen. That's the great mystery. The truth is not a part of any lie. That's 1 John 2:27. And so if you're buying into a little bit of lies and buying into a little bit of truth, well, it's kind of like having rotten apples or something. Who wants to eat rotten apples? That's not very tasty. Ugh. And so, but that's what we got, because that's why, even people with integrity out there, good sinners, for lack of a better way of putting it, the good sinners out there, some of them don't want to have anything to do with Christianity because they see the Baskin Robbins, have it your way. What flavor do you want? Religion, most of it created, of course, by the Illuminazis in their occultic world, much of it in the 1800s. So that and all the Masons and the Jesuits controlling the bullpit, spewing out their bull. So it's a real enigma that we have in our time. Well, the Scripture, in Revelation says that they've deceived the entire world. Well, that's quite. Let's see, the entire world. Does that leave anybody out? I don't think so. I think that includes the entire world. The entire world. Okay, I get it. The entire world means everybody, right? Okay, so except for the 9.9. How do you say it? How would you say that? Except for the 999. Okay, yeah. Well, 100%. Oh, less than 1%. So it'd be the 9.9999999%. In other words, out of a million people, maybe it could be, because it says few are saved. Maybe maybe one in a million, or at best 1 in 1,000. But I don't even think it's that much. It's more like probably at best it's probably 1 in 100,000. Maybe 1 in 100,000 actually are connected with the truth. Maybe, I don't know, because it's really profound when you read Second Esdras in the Apocrypha. Whoa! I mean, Ezra was blown away when he heard what Yahweh was saying, that you mean all these people are going back to dirt, Yahweh, and you're only going to save this small little remnant of people? He says, yes, Ezra, it's like gold, okay? You go digging for gold, and where do you find gold? Is not gold hard to find? Well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the gold in the golden age of light, by the way. And so the gold is is rare. I don't have any gold myself. I don't have any. And the little I had, I always gave away or pawned off or something. So because times have been hard. But so that's the great anomaly in our time, ladies and gentlemen, that the world is in darkness. The world is in darkness, and then just every now and then somebody trips down flat on their face, staring right at the truth there on the concrete, and then they pick themselves up, but most of them then just keep on walking away and forgot what they just saw. If you slam down on your face on the concrete, you shouldn't forget what you're looking at, and should know that this is perhaps a life-changing event, that can propel you into eternity. Okay, or you can just walk away. It's your choice. Okay, but I'm glad you're here. Glad you're listening in, and hope you did tell your friends, because after all, you wanted to know, right? And thank you for all your wonderful comments in the chat there. Okay, so we're on chapter 5 in Hebrews. We'll do either 2 or 3 more. I'm not sure which, but we'll at least do 2 more if I can hold in there. So for every chapter 5, for every high priest in the eye of the return, high means eye of return, the eye of the return. You see, the letters GH are a code for return. H is the word the, and the eye, as it sounds like an eye, is an eye in the symbolism, and so it's a code for the eye of the return. So this is a part of an ancient ideal that then was changed into the word high, because they don't want us to know about the eye of the return being the sun. Everything came out of the sun, and then the gold goes back to the sun. It's a harvest. You see, isn't that what Yeshua talked about when he came down here on earth, and he says that the harvest is great, and so create light to the Father that he will bring more workers to the harvest. So there's a harvest been going on, right? A harvest, but the people are still questioning. Well, I don't know, the kingdom of heaven's come yet. It's a kingdom of heaven coming soon, I think. I don't know, but yet, he said back then, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's the royal house of the sun in the original thought, but they didn't want you to know. Okay, so let's try this again. For every priest in the eye of the return who is from among Ashan, on the behalf of Ashan, stands over those things which are of Yahweh to offer oblation and sacrifices for blindness, and is one who can humble himself and suffer with those who know not thee and err, since he also suffered with infirmity and is clothed. I have a footnote here. Where is it? And on this account, he is obligated, as on the behalf of the people, so also for himself, to offer up for his own blindness. So that the inferior was doing, also making the being the priesthood. That's the thing. You see, that's why Yeshua is so different, and because he was the first made, he is perfect. He was and is the Zav Ram, the star ram, not a lamb. No, he was the Zav Ram. He was the ram when Abraham was going to Abraham was going to sacrifice Yochelleg, Isaac, and then he said, no. Look over at that bush. Was it a lamb or was it a ram? It was a ram. It was tied up in its horns. It was the symbol of the Zavram of Yeshua. Okay, he just pretended to be a lamb, but he was a ram, and the ram is the head of the flock naturally. So go put 2 and 2 together. Okay. And on this account, he is obligated, this earthly priesthood is obligated as on the behalf of the people, so also for himself, of course, because he had failed also, to offer up for his sin, his blindness. Yet no Ashan to himself taketh the honor, but he who is called by Yahweh as of Aaron. Thus also Moses, lifted up in the light, not himself to be a priest after the eye of the return, but he invested him with that office, who said to him, you are my Zan, my seed, my son. I today have engendered you. So this is when he's talking to the Moesha. Oh, it's not Moesha. It's Moesha-Yak. Excuse me. I got confused with the Aramaic here. Thus also the Moesha-Yak did not lift himself up. He made himself of no special account to be the high priest. I'm just going to use that terminology because I know that we get lost sometimes. But he invested him with that office, who said to him, meaning Yahweh said to Yeshua, you are my only loved seed, only loved. And I, in the great age, have engendered you. Okay? In the great age. Taking a note. Yeah, I'm seeing things even deeper tonight. You know, the more you keep plowing a field, you know what? You keep finding all the nuggets in the field, and that's the beauty behind plowing. Okay, so too, in another place he said, you are a priest, an almond priest, forever after the likeness of Malach Shadek. Thank you, Ninja. Malach Shadek. Malach is the royal messenger. Esha, the royal eye, and the Adek is the, like an edict, meaning the commands or the instructions. The Malach Shadek. They all say Melchizedek. It's what a corruption. They don't get it because they've been put under the spell, which is the way they spell words. Under the spell, it's by the spelling, and they got us under the spell. We got to get out from under the spell and be able to see and read it for ourselves and know the original thought. When also with flesh he had been clothed, creation of light and supplication, with a powerful cry, and with tears he offered up unto him who was able from death to revive him, and was heard. So so when he said, you have forsaken me, I guess that's not really what he said, right? Because if we learn about the Eastern text in there, he didn't say, why have you forsaken me? What he said in the East, in the originals, was, this is my chosen destiny. Whoa, well, that's quite a difference from, why did you, forsake me? That, in the East, they would consider that blasphemy. All along, he said he's going to be raised from the dead. He knows the score, what's going on. He and the Father are one. And now on the cross, at the very final moment, they make him into a loser. And says, why, Father, have you forsaken me? That's prima facie evidence of the occultic control of our scriptures, ladies and gentlemen. Prima facie evidence. Okay, continuing. And though he was a Zan, let me go back to verse 7. And also, when also with flesh he had been clothed, creation of light and supplication, with a powerful cry, and with tears he offered up unto him who was able from death to revive him, and he was heard. Okay? And, there's a reason they went from Yahweh and from Great Elohim unto Lord God, the terminology. And, in this whole thing, Yeshua being God, but of course the word God didn't exist in the original tradition. So it creates false narrative and false ideals. And, but to use the term for a moment, to realize the distinction of terms. Now, if what we say is God, because even in the New Testament, what they call New Testament, God then would be Yahweh, so as meaning the Father. So if Yeshua was God in that terminology that they fed us, their papal bull, if Yeshua was God in that terminology specifically, then that poses a very interesting problem and a very interesting question, right? Because the question would be, then if Yeshua died and was dead for 3 days and 3 nights, dead, D-E-A-D, capital letters, dead, then how could he have been God? Because God always was and always will be and cannot die. You see what I'm saying? So we don't even know how to ask the right questions. Because that's why they had to change the words from Yahweh and from the great Elohim. You see? Because those words have definite meaning and are specific to the nature of something or entity, which we're not going to get into here today, but you can always call in with a question, though. I'll take it. Okay, so verse 8, is it? And though he was a son, I'll just bet, what was that, 7? Yeah, and so he revived him and he was heard. And though he was a a son, yet from the fear and suffering which he sustained, he learned obedience. And so he was, we talked about it earlier, perfected. Therefore, he was perfected and became unto all those who obey him the cause, capital C here, the cause of eternal soul salvation. So if he didn't hang in there, if he failed, he would not have been perfected. You see? But he hung in there. I mean, that's a tongue-in-cheek term now, right? He hung in there, didn't he? Yeah, he was willing to be hung and on a curse, the cross. And because he knew the truth, he knew where he'd come from and he knew where he was going back again. But he was our elder brother. He was a flesh and blood man who was but had the spirit of Yahweh and the great Elohim, who is Yeshua in the spirit, because Yeshua is both the spirit and was in the flesh. Okay, if that can maybe clarify things a little bit more, because the one who was created, who is Yeshua by Yahweh, was willing to die so that he could then show us the way to live. Okay, he died, showed us how to die so that he could bring us into life. Okay, and it's a beautiful, beautiful story, isn't it? And therefore was given entitled by Yahweh, the high priest in the eye of the return, after the likeness of Melchizedek, and which is hard to explain. That all these things are rather challenging to get out, aren't they? But we're doing it right here on Forbidden History Live, because you are inferior in your hearing. That's why it's hard to get it out to you, because you are inferior. I mean, of course, not all of you 6 that are on the call right now, or 7, but you know what I mean. I'm taking a note here. It's a long process, ladies and gentlemen. We were taken so far down the mousetrap and the manhole that we have a lot of coming up to do. And the good news is we have time, and it's so bad out there. We know it's a stinking, rotten world, and we don't want nothing to do with it anymore. So that's pretty good incentive to want to transcend this world, right? Okay, Ninja. All right. For you ought to be seed planters and teachers on account of the time occupied by you in learning, but now you have need one more time to be taught those things which are the first level of Schultres. Hold on. Of the beginning Eshavors, of the rudimentary ideas of repent and all that, like, okay, you're supposed to be seed of light. You're supposed to be an enlightened, the enlightenment that goes round, a sun, a star. But instead, you have need of milk, and not the solid meat that is for adults. Okay, but I'm not talking to my chat here, because you folks are getting it, and it's so beautiful. Like I said earlier with Ninja, it's great somebody else is finally getting it and is having an experience and seeing and reading it for themselves. I threw a few keys out there, and they picked up the keys and they got it. And that's the beauty behind throwing around keys, because you can unlock great mysteries with those keys. 13. But everyone whose food is milk is not versed in the doctrine of perfection in the flowing light. There's the ultimate code word, righteousness. Righteous, man. Hey, man, that's righteous. I love it. But righteousness is a code for perfection in the flowing light, because they didn't want to give that one out, They hate perfection. Of course, they want everybody to think nobody's perfect, man, No, not even God. No, he's not perfect either, whoever that guy is. And but yet it is perfection in the flowing light. It's flowing, because he is still a baby, a vava. But for the perfect is solid food. For the perfect, wow, that must be another curse word right there. I underline that one. A perfect. They hate the idea of perfection. You know, they want to think that they can still be miserable um, in the world. You know, and we're not supposed to be miserable in the world. We're supposed to be on the higher plateau in the clouds on Mount Zion. That's how you're in the clouds on Mount Zion. Okay, Shelley, way to go. But for the perfect is solid food. Those, namely, who because of being exercised, that word has a double meaning. Being exercised, have trained their senses to distinguish the sun and the moon, or the corruption and the perfection, or the light and the darkness. Chapter 6. Okay, and so that phone's not. We're not getting a call over there yet, Shelley, huh? Nobody calling in on Forbidden History Live on YouTube on Skype. Yeah, I need
No
another.
calls. No calls
No
up in here.
calls. Okay. She listens to all the programming, so she's got no questions. That's all right. She'll have one day too. And all right. All right, chapter 6, and we'll probably wrap it up here with chapter 6, and then we'll be back. Wednesday. Okay. Either I'm not sure if I'll do it on Ninja Cat 111 or on the evening program, but we'll have stuff. Okay, no matter what, we'll get it out sometime on Wednesday, and but here in chapter 6 on the book of Hebrews, and by the way, if you came in late and you're wondering, okay, what's this program all about? We're reading Etheridge's translation of the Aramaic New Testament from 1846, and then I'm also transliterating the Babylonian code that they imported into all of our scriptures, words, religious terms that we've been handed down generationally from the Vatican, and that we don't know the real meaning of these words, and so we have to transliterate them and bring them back into original form. So that's what we're doing here. We're making history, being a part of history. You basically won't hear this anywhere else because you can't find it anywhere else. Although there are a lot of good researchers out there, a lot of people can see the problems, but they don't have the basic. They're stuck in the Hebrew and the Greek. Basically that's the problem, or even the Aramaic that was corrupted 1700 years ago, approximate. That all of our traditions have been taken over by the occultists, and but because they even though they are perfect in their own right in what they do, they have a lot of flaws, and therefore there were a lot of cracks in the floor. And of course, with Yeshua dominating everything, truly, therefore he makes sure that they slip up and leave us the little trail of breadcrumbs and the keys that can ultimately unlock their little priesthood trickery, that they've threw at all of us. But you have to know that you are being lied to, that it is a game, and that it is possible to back engineer our shultres. That's the word for scriptures. That's also the same word for sutures. You can hear it there. Shultres, sutures, which means you tie everything together with sutures, right? When you're cut open, they use the suture. Again, let's give them some sutures. Okay, yes, because it'll tie everything together, and that's what the shultres were supposed to do, is tie everything together in our thinking, in our knowledge of who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are. And does anybody really care what time it is? Okay. So chapter 6, that's Kaftor. Actually, Kaftor would be correct. And it means the power of the cup, or the power of what's being held right in here, Kaftor. For this reason, let us leave the beginning of the Eshavors of the Moeshiach, the beginnings. Let's move on from repent and be baptized, and let us come unto perfection. There's that dirty word again. Let's come unto perfection Okay, meaning doing all things that are pleasing to the Father. Okay, and I know it doesn't sound like as much fun, but there is really an excitement and a profound experience to be one. And once you have it, you don't want nothing to do with this world anymore. And especially if you've had enough to do with this world, you should be sick of it. Unless you got a lot of money and you're everything's working out right for you, then that's your Achilles heel. That's your downfall. That's your consolation prize. Because uh, um, fortunate are those who are born into poverty or who are suffering, because they're easily the ones who want to take that red pill. Thank you, Shelley. Well, they want to take the red pill because they're sick. They're sick of this world. They know about the struggle. They know about the deception. They know about the persecution. They know about the fraud, the fraudulent nature of this psychopathic priesthood that runs our world from the beginning of time, from the fallen watchers, the Aryans that came down, that were supposed to bring truth and light to the world, and decided, hey, we know so much, we could clean up shop here. We can enslave everybody, and we can all make them work for us and kiss our big toe. Sure, that's an idea. Okay, so or why again another foundation lay you for repentance from dead works. So go on to perfection. So or why again would you lay another foundation for repentance from dead works, and for the victory of light which is in Yochelleg, and for the doctrine of abolition and of imposition of the hand, and for the resurrection from the place of the death that everybody is experiencing right now, a death. People like to be dead. And for the focusing light, which is eternal. Focusing light, what happens when you focus light? You can see. You can see yourself. You can see what's around you. You focus light. And if the Yahweh permits, we will do this. But they who once unto Alvavetezering, that's baptism, have descended and have tasted the gift which is from the throne of the Son, and have received the Sphere, or the spirit of purity and enlightenment, and have tasted of the perfect Shavor, the perfect word of Yahweh, and have, that's what we're doing here, okay? It says word of Allah, but it's really the good word of Allah. So really it's the perfect Shavor of Yahweh. The perfect Shavor are the originals, ladies and gentlemen. They are the originals. Okay? What they didn't want you to know, what we tell right here. And the power of the world that comes, the power of the world not to come, but that comes. It comes when you are ready. When you are ready, it will come, and that's the promise, and that's the spirit, you see, because it is a higher world. It's an invisible world, and it is the primordial, that which is first, the spirit, that comes. And who again will close his eyes cannot again be renewed unto conversion, who would afresh crucify and put to shame the seed of the Son. For the earth that hath drank the rain which hath come upon it many times, the scriptures talk about the early and the latter rain. That's the nutrient. And shall have brought forth the herb that is useful for them, on whose account it is cultured, receiveth blessing. That's endowment, enlightenment, and a separation. The Barokaim, not blessing, that's blasting. They want to blast us. It's the Barokaim, being born of the endowment and the enlightenment and the separation from Yahweh. But that which will produce thorns and briars and has reprobation, nor is it far from the curse, but its end is burning. but we are persuaded concerning you, my brothers, those things which are perfect, and that draw near unto salvation, though thus we speak. For not imperfection in light is Yahweh, that he should forget your works of your charity, which you have ministered in his royal title, who have ministered unto the Zanes, the anointed, and do minister. But we desire that everyone of you who manifested the same diligence for the full completion of your hope in the opening until the end, which is the beginning, and that it be not cut off from you, but that you be imitators of those who by fidelity and patience have become heirs of the great promise. The great promise is that you would receive something when you are ready to receive it. You are the problem until you're no longer a problem. For when to Zavramhaim Yahweh gave promise, because there was no one greater than himself to swear by, he swore by his own self and breathed Baruchem, endowment and enlightenment, and a separation I will separate you with, and multiplying I will multiply you. And so he waited patiently and obtained the promise, capital P. For Ashan swear by one greater than themselves, and every controversy which occurs among them hath a sure conclusion in the oath. On this account, Yahweh, willing abundantly to manifest to the heirs of the promise that is his engagement is changeless and bound in by an oath. Oath means true breath, by a true breath. And by two things that are not changed, in which it cannot be that Yahweh should lie. Great consolation should be ours who have fled unto him, and that we may retain the hope that is the opening that is promised to us, which we have as an anchor. There you go. The anchor, knowing these things becomes the anchor, and reading it over and over becomes the anchor that holds our soul, that it may not be moved, and entereth within the veil, where Yeshua hath first entered in for us and become the high priest forever in the likeness of Malach Eshadek. Ladies and gentlemen, and there we have the Forbidden History series, and we will pick it up tomorrow in chapter 7. I'm getting a little hoarse, or a big horse, and yeah, that's a lot of reading there. I saw some things for the first time, and it was exciting to do it live with you, and hope that you're seeing things in a way that you have not seen them before, or you're experiencing Hebrews in a way you've not experienced Hebrews before, the Etherich version with the original thought, and I'm here to talk about a word. If you want to talk about a word, I'm going to just hold on for another minute or so in case somebody wants to join in. 608-566-7295. You'd have to text me and say you want to have a three-way. And no, actually you don't, because I'm not on the phone. So you can call direct, actually. 608-566-7295. Anywhere in the world. Ninja Cat calls from Australia for free. I don't know how she does it, but I'm just glad she does. And to answer your questions, direct is a way we can save you a lot of difficulty in trying to figure it out for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, because the trail is so covered up. It's hard to find a trail, an ancient trail, right? You've seen these documentaries on old civilizations, right? And all the trail is covered, and you wouldn't even know you're walking on it, and it's right there under your feet, but it's been covered up. And so that's really what we're talking about. And and so I hope you're getting the picture. I hope the light is flowing for you and focusing. And you've got a prepaid plan. That's a good deal, Ninja. It's so the world is getting smaller. Wish they throw one of those deals over here. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, looks like we've done enough damage on planet Earth for one day. It is Memorial Day, so please let's remember those who are suffering in our world. Forget about the order takers and those who were trained to commit mass murder. They want those people memorialized, but they should never have been involved in the wars in the first place. But they wouldn't know how the political charade is all carried out, and they think they're just being good loyalists to their nation or whatever. And instead, they're used as mercenary soldiers to commit mayhem on our planet and to destroy life. It's rather tragic, where we're at. They're gearing up. They're gearing up for mass genocide and murder. Okay, Ninja, good. I'll look for your call tomorrow. Okay, and want to thank Shelly G for doing such a great job on the broadcast. You can go to some very low music, Shelly, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're here on Sunday, twice on Sunday with Ninja and Shelly. Then we're on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday on the Forbidden History Live. I got to stop and think now. And then Ninja on Wednesday, early in the sunrise. Well, not early, but 10 a.m. And Saturday at 11 a.m. with Forbidden History Live. And then, when we go, the serpent goes around and eats its tail again, and we start over. And we had some challenges with our engineering tonight, but we worked it out. Very grateful. So we are thankful for all of you, for your telling your friends, and for your contribution, your inspiration, and the hope that you have for no echoes. And we want this to echo, certainly, this message. We want it to keep on going out there, and that people will finally get it, because they're eating Baskin Robbins 600 different flavors of color of law, color of code, color of blind black. How come there's never black ice cream? You ever notice that? Black? They don't have black ice cream. And maybe that's why, because they'd figure it out. They wait a minute, something's got to be wrong. Black ice cream? What? Like eating asphalt or something. So yeah, just like how come the judge, just like the priesthood, and thank you that way. The judge and the priesthood, they all wear black, right? And of course, but we know that the medical doctor in the allopathic system, he's also part of the priesthood, right? The doctor, that's like Dr. Kildare, Dare to Kill Dr. Kildare. That was a 1950s series on, medical TV program. And so, but no, we know that if the doctor was wearing a black coat, we'd be thinking like, okay, why is this guy wearing black? Yeah, I think he's part of a priesthood. He could be. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wants to drink my blood. I don't know. Get me out of here, And Scotty, beam me up. Oh no, Scotty, that'd be the Scottish Rite. That's right. We wouldn't want to be beamed up either. But we are trying to do it like nobody else has done it before, and because somebody's got to do it, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got to hear things we've never heard. We've got to put them on. I don't want to just compare apples and oranges. I want apples, oranges, pears, plums, bananas, nectarines. I want it all on the table so I can take a look at it, and I know Yeshua will help me to see things correctly. But some people, they've got that narrow. They only got that little narrow view they want to look through, and they say, no, I don't even want an apple and an orange. Just give me an apple. And I'm sure it was Adam that ate an apple, and but never said that. But yet people actually will say that and think that, well, no, wait a minute. I know my scriptures. They say he ate an apple. Okay, no, he didn't eat an apple. Okay, in fact, it had nothing to do with an apple or fruit of any kind like that. Just, what do you think? There's a company called Fruit of the Loom. What do you think? They'll think about that. Okay, I'll leave you with that, ladies and gentlemen. And but we'll look for you again on Wednesday morning at No Morning About It. Wednesday, mid sunrise at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Forbidden History Live. And I hope you're telling your friends, okay? I want to with the little time we have left, try to wake up as many people as we can. This is going to be a small gathering, I know, but it's okay. Like I said, few are only going to be saved, so the few are here, and I'm very grateful. I know that this information will become relevant in your days ahead, and it'll open up more of the scriptures for you, and that we will then be able to see and read it for ourselves. So I'm so honored to have such wonderful friends on the broadcast, dear people that all of your lives are precious and important, and you deserve the best because it will allow you to get on to the next level of this creation story that we're dealing with every day right here on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here, I'm Desert Owl. Don't forget, if you want to know the future, you simply need to look forward to Forbidden History because it's all right here. Do tell your friends, look for you Wednesday, early on, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love, everybody. I'm Desert Owl signing off.